Aries, go ahead and do your reading because you did show up in the legal reading for this month. It wasn't you in particular. It was just the influence of that leadership ability, having to pave your own way. And it can be seen as impulsivity to people who don't move that way. But if that's what makes you you, and that's what makes you golden, you know, there's no critique there. You're always going to handle something in a different way than the next person. We have agape, the eternal child. Oh my gosh. I was going to start the reading as I was drinking my water, which says eternal. I was going to start your reading off with eternal as the message. The forest and the medallion. Okay, so this is what I'm getting. Seeing this agape and the eternal child. You are getting such a lesson with unconditional love. For a long time, you have been loving based on conditions, and it takes you through the whole zodiac until you understand that, which is Pisces. And they're sitting in this spot for a very specific reason. They are a true lesson to what unconditional love is in conditional circumstances, though. So it's very hard for someone who is ruled head first, you know, they go head first into things to really understand something from an eternal child perspective, which should be one in the same, or one of the same. It's just that you're not a child anymore, so you don't move with that childlike innocence. Oh, this fruit fly has been bothering my soul. Anyway, so it's testing every bit of will and every bit of patience you have, because the eternal child of someone has been what you've been dealing with. And that's the thing, you've been dealing with it. You've been handling it as it is a child. Even if it's in a grown person, it's like reprimanding, an adult reprimanding a child. If a person has a spirit of an eternal child, they never lose that wonder about them, that curiosity about them, that charm about them. People love the smell of babies. They give off a pheromone that is comfort. It's home. It has this agape feeling to it. It is an unconditional thing. They really don't have the choice of who they love. They just love. And it's over time reprimanded and dealt with and handled that the scarring of an eternal child can manifest in a physical manifestation of a child who is disfigured, of a child who has illness, in those types of ways. You'll see the way that you may be handling someone with an eternal child spirit can be directly connected or linked to a child in your environment with an ailment or with some type of issue happening. So this eternal child must be protected. This agape must be protected. And it does seem that it has gone in and off, like off grid, on its own, in itself. There is a sense of going to a safe place here with this energy. This could be something you're doing to protect your eternal child, to not be too jaded. And we do have the color green here. To not be too tarnished by your experience with someone who puts you in a place of reprimand, or cannot hold with care your eternal child, because it is something to be cherished, to be treasured, to be held with care. The river. I saw it like this, but this card is upside down. So this is something to reflect on. It's something that someone else is reflecting on. This is why things may be stalled or stopped and not actually going in motion. In motion. It may be a stall of emotion as well. I want to see what's happening with this eternal child. It has all these colors here. There's so many different moods, so many different emotions, so many different things. We have the root chakra. So this is a base vibration of this person you're dealing with, and they may come off as childish or come off as entitled or whatever, but it has the energy of the Emperor Aries. This is archetypically, you are the father, and so you're being held responsible for the actions towards this eternal child, whether this is you and your inner eternal child or someone else's. There's an obligation to always express agape and to not ever forget that sense of love that transcends condition, circumstances, situations, misunderstandings, differences of opinion. True enough. You don't hate your child for them not seeing the world as you do. And that is no different from any human being. They are carrying the sense of an eternal child. So even if they're using their adult mind to make these decisions, it's based on a eternal child value, something at their core that they're basing this ideology or this decision off of. I'm going to get 2 tumblestone, one for agape and one for forest. Agape, we have lapis lazuli. So this was spoken or communicated, this unconditional love, this love that's supposed to bridge all gaps and actually stand the test of time. Forest. We have crown chakra. This person feels safer away, gone. It's like going in their treehouse or going to their fort. It's a place where only they feel comfortable being. Oh, wow. Solar plexus for the medallion. They may have fled. They may have been afraid. They don't want to fight. This is eternal child. To preserve a situation, they'd much rather seclude themselves in the forest. There is no movement because of it. The momentum has stalled or has stopped. I do see storm here. The storm and the shadow. So this person may be experiencing some type of spiritual bout. Spiritual battle, and it's something that you can't actually rush them to go through. This is their own storm, and they have to be away from people in order to go through it. Sun at the bottom of the deck, or at the split. So this is going to be shining light on something very specific, especially with the eternal child having this, like this reminds me of like the core of the earth itself, the foundation, the very core of something, the very middle of somebody's being, or what they build their life around is eternal child. And that sun did show it does have a child on it, and it is really, really relevant here. I'm also getting rays, like rain ray, indigo child. If someone is seemingly lost, they're lost for a reason. They want to be safe for you not to find them, to not be too close. Seven of Swords. They don't want you to see. No, they don't want you to see them cry. They don't want you to see them fall, because it seems as if, because they still have this stumbling about them. They still have this effect that triggers your it's so simple for you because you just do, and it's something that they have to find out on their own. They have to learn. And there's a sense of frustration with that, being a college professor trying to teach kindergarten. It's not, and this is not in any way trying to talk down about anybody's educational level, but it's like you're very well versed in a certain way of being, and they don't operate that way, so they don't know how to do things in this way that you think is so simple. There's no magician. You can have the same resources and make different things of it. You have all these blocks or these Legos, and you can show them this extravagant design, and they just have something very, very simple to make of what they have. Maybe because your mind is expanded in a certain way that it's too complicated, or making it seem too hard for this person to even, they just, it's too much pressure. Page of Cups. They're offering their eternal child. And what's odd is that they don't even realize is that's what they lead with. And by the time their eternal child is confronted with a force that is overpowering, the only thing they can do is go to their safe place. The Sun again. Yes. That is exactly it. So this is, Aries is dealing with a male, or we have the Star here. In comparison, what I'm saying, and I see this connection a lot when I see these two cards together. This is the inner child, and this is the older manifestation. There has to be a refining. We see the Sun as the sun, right? But later on in our understanding, we are then explained to that the Sun is a star. It's just the brightest star, and that is what gives us heat, and that's what's giving us warmth. So at one point, it's like these two things are unlike each other, but they're both in their truth. They're both in their I wanted to say manifestation, but they're in the stage of existence that they're most comfortable in. And this person, being an eternal child, always feels like the center, always feels like the focus. This is something that they've learned, that children are precious, or so they are more kindred with the child spirit and the child energy. And you'll see this goofiness, you'll see this playfulness, you'll see where they may not take things seriously as adults may take, and being handled in an adult perspective, and you're speaking to the eternal child, there is a disconnect there, and there is a sense of not knowing. They equate the, here's the Justice card. They equate the not knowing with it being wrong, or being told that they're being wrong. There's something not connecting here. Of course, they do have to get to the point where they understand what the star does. They understand that they can be the sun in a star way, where it's not so on display, where it's very private and it's very internal. The sun is a very external type of energy. So you're seemingly coming off as opposites. You're seemingly coming off as mother to son, or father to daughter, or it's like you're talking to somebody who is just not mentally there, and they're not leading with their mount. They're not leading with their mental. Their mental could be equipped, but when it comes to their emotional self, they have the heart of a child, and this is what scares them most when these interactions happen. This justice card is that checks and balances. Somebody has to be the bigger person. Somebody has to tell them they're doing it wrong, and it has to be me, is the energy I'm getting with this. You're not obligated to be anyone's parent. Let me start off by saying that. But it's also, do no harm but take no shit, okay? That's and what I mean by that is, if your inner child is talking to someone else's inner child, you will be on the same page and you will understand each other. And their adult self, in their star like ability to not just be the sun, but also recognize that they're a star, meaning they're not just the center of attention, but they also have to put focused attention onto something, have to put and energy and emotion into something. That is that part. The inner child has the eternal child, and that inner child has to be in agreement with that. Because if the eternal child does not feel this agape energy, it won't participate, not in a way that you think should be so very easy. They have to filter everything through their heart on the child, in a childlike way. Everything goes through their heart space first, and then it comes out to the communication and where action is really being taken. So you have to lead by communicating in a way that reaches the heart space, and not just topically on this adult person that you're talking to. Because for the same reason that you love this person is the same thing that makes you frustrated about them. Like you were attracted to this very thing, and now it's like as if it doesn't even matter and you can't understand it, and therefore it's wrong, because they shouldn't be like that. They should be like this, or they should do it like this. You thought maybe it was a facade, or maybe it was a put on, or maybe it was just something to lure you in, and it wasn't that. They have an eternal child spirit about them that will never stop. They will be 80, 90 years old and still be that same child at heart. Not that grumpy old man that's jaded by life. But that's what they detach for and go to this forest. They cannot take being torn here. They cannot take feeling like they disappointed and let somebody down, to the point of arguments and confusion and blaming, and they feel like that is the worst. Excuse me. And there's parts of them that ache and cry, like, even if it's not. What the hell? What was that? Something just happened with my camera and I don't know what did. I'm gonna have to splice these together. I don't know if it caught any of that. I'm just gonna keep going. They may stutter in the presence of older people, or feel like when a child is like, Stuart, like, look what I can do, and they really like to impress people that seem more mature than them. But at the reprimand, or at the moment they feel that they're doing something wrong, they really do take it to heart. They really do take it to heart. They don't take it to God, they take it to heart. You know what I mean? And it really does damage to them internally, which they will still need the star energy to heal with. If they took it to God or their creator or the universe, whomever, it would be more so the star energy. But it takes them a minute to get to that. It's like they're looking at everybody as an example of why not to grow up. Hold on a sec. Okay. Aries. So I'm going to splice those other videos that I have together. I'm looking at this clear quartz crystal, and I did not see that I had this yellow gold tone in this crystal. The medallion. This is like heirloom talisman. These are things that are passed down. This also has a lot to do with legacy. And I think that, you know, if this person has an eternal child spirit and they have children, that child has an eternal child spirit, whether in physical form or in spiritual form. And you'll know that. You'll sense that. You'll feel the interaction of their inner child and eternal child with another child. It's always Page of Cups. But this is, like I said, this is something that attracted you to begin with. Your eternal child, your inner child archetype was attracted to this. But it's like, okay, we have to get down to business, and we have to do this, and we have to do that, and you got to stop. And this is like an attack on someone who has an eternal child. Like, they're going to defend themselves by leaving. They're going to take off. And they're not actually going to, and doing that in an adult way. And it may seem like, oh, they're being immature. They have this star energy right at their crown. So when they go to this forest place, they are using their crown chakra energy in order to do so. This is the safest place spiritually for them to be, away from you, away from the situation, away from the argument, away from the conflict. They know they have much to protect. And this makes them a target for, not from just you, and not saying that you're being too aggressive. What I'm saying is your energy and their energy is not quite the same. They're coming up with water energy. So their emotional self will, it's more sacred to them than you even know. Where people are like, man, just get over it, get out your feelings. This person lives life with, like, by how they feel. The eternal child is a guide for them. That is like the emperor for them. This is how they keep things in control, by feeling out the emotional environment, the waters. They're still using the star energy, but you're not understanding the usage. You're not understanding the application, because you do things differently. Yeah. It's like really stern. It's coming off really stern and really overpowering. So when they do wall up and go into their own space, they come off as King of Swords themselves, in reflection to the emotion they're getting from you, or the reprimand they're getting from you with this Justice card. They feel this, you get this from them. They're kind of mimicking what you're doing. So now, where you felt like the sun energy and the eternal child energy may have put too much of a burden on you, or is too much to deal with, it's like, okay, well, this is what they felt, and this is why they reacted in the way that they did. So they can give you King of Swords, and that's a very adult manifestation of who they are. But it's not a treatment that you like. And now your eternal child is feeling overwhelmed. And your adult self is like, how could you be so cruel? How could you be so cold? How could you be so distant? How could you not care? And those are the answers that you need to provide to those questions for them. They're just giving you back what you've given. That's it. And they may not even voice it. Their presentation itself may be what speaks of this energy. Ace of Cups here underneath Justice. They're teaching you agape. They're putting in balance agape. If it is of love, and you're doing things and you're speaking to me, and if you're frustrated because your needs are not getting met, you're not considering everything. You're not considering love in an agape way to where we can find a viable solution. The only thing you're concerned with is your own shit. So if you come at an eternal child with that type of mentality because you're frustrated right now and you're unhappy right now, it's never about what they're feeling, what they're going through, what they understand, what they comprehend. It's more so, how could you? Why didn't you? You know, and you, and it's like things are going haywire within their mind, within their energy, and they just wall up because they're going to protect this eternal child above all else. They're a fierce protector of the child archetype. This King of Swords is sitting below the sun. But it's mirroring the star. It is a heavy burden to be the eternal child. But you don't get to feel that burden until you feel as if you're being wronged. Your inner child is being wronged because you want reciprocity and you want it to be balanced. That's what they're trying to achieve as well. That's what they want to achieve. Okay, so it's you're not wanting different things. You're wanting the same exact thing. But you can't see from their perspective at all because you're not operating in an eternal child mode. I'm full grown, I'm mature, I'm this and I'm that. So you can't see from a child's perspective how irrational you may be. But again, the innocence of this person, the agape of this person, the childlike wonder and curiosity of this person is something that you adore. It's something that you love. King of Cups. There will be advancement. There will be growth. The Page of Cups is here. So is the King. They're not two different people. But the King of Cups, Page of Cups energy is in a very low place. The inner child, that eternal child, has been severely wounded and is very fucking afraid of doing the wrong thing, feeling like they did the wrong thing. That's bad. That's, it's really dark. Like, imagine if you had a 3-year-old child, 4-year-old child going through a depression. How would you handle that as a parent? You would have them go see somebody, have them put on some kind of medication, or would you, what's wrong? Like, really trying to get down to the bottom of it. Even that, you may not get any response. It takes a lot. When somebody is especially if something traumatic happened at the age of 3, they may not even remember. But it's sorrows and traumas that do keep people at a particular age. And the emotional self, it can let's see, it can gain more experience, but it will always be that core age. Their root chakra is resounding with the eternal child energy. That is their emperor energy. It is childlike. It is very curious, but also something that needs protecting. But at the same time, they will be put in positions where they have to be the protector. They have to learn how to protect themselves first, which is why the 7 of Wands energy is coming above the King of Cups. There's a lot they're learning. And they're learning through you that they have to protect themselves. It's a harsh ass lesson for an eternal child person to learn through agape. Because no matter, I'm about to fucking cry. No matter what you put them through, or no matter how hard you come down on them, and no matter what you say, no matter how much it tears them apart, every time they get into these arguments or hear these words coming towards them about how they're fucking up, how they're not doing right, how they ain't shit, how they'll never be shit, they internalize that. And it just gets to the point where, I mean, they really do start to give up. They know they have something to protect. They're only going to go where they feel safe. If they don't feel safe in your presence or around you, they will do everything in their power to be without you or from around you. But it's still that type of, I have to make my father proud, I have to make my mother proud. So if you stood above them in any way, like pointing that finger, Six of Pentacles, in a position like that. And Six of Pentacles is not a bad thing, but it's reminiscent of this Libra energy where you're trying to give somebody game. You're trying to teach them where they're fucking up, how to be better. I just want to upgrade you. Like, what are you doing? You fucking up. All you gotta do is this. It's real simple. To you, it's simple. To you, it's simple. So you could be talking to two different people and they learn in two different ways. And you may seem as if, okay, well, this person just ain't getting it. They just don't get me. They just not. And it's nothing to do. Like you're not even, you can't even see past your maturity and your grownness. You know what I'm saying? It's like this person is constantly in sorrow because they've lived a life being treated like this for a very long time by people they love, though, that they'll always have love for these people, even if these people have betrayed them, done them wrong, cursed them out. It doesn't even matter. They have this eternal child innocence about them, and children too. They will develop their likes and dislikes, true enough, but the foundation of the way they love is agape. Like, you know what, I won't even, you know what, I'll just go because it'll make your life easier, so I won't disappoint you anymore. It's too difficult to live up to these expectations. So they'll never, ever fully feel like they can be themselves in this situation. They're only going to go where they feel safe. And they found some place to be safe. With the medallion, we have the Wheel of Fortune. I'm looking at the medallion and the eternal child. The eternal child has those spokes of color, and they pretty much are represented here on the wheel. The different, the different shades of life, the different modes of life. This Wheel of Fortune is sitting underneath the wheel, the Ace of Cups and the Justice card. That Chariot and Six of Pentacles is coming up with this Three of Swords. The very star energy that they love. Your maturity, your this, your that is the same thing that is like tearing apart their heart, their love. Damn. We have the Seven of Cups underneath the King of Cups and the Seven of Wands. It's a lot of confusion. We have 3 sevens on the board with the Chariot here as well. This is why they're taking into consideration their emperor energy is an eternal child. All they want to do is make someone proud. All they want to do is make sure that people are proud of them and their decisions. But with this agape, there it's being misunderstood. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Even if there's connections being made in other directions, it's the inner child of them that is connecting to other people. It's not predominantly, I don't see any physicality cards. I don't see any sex types of cards. I don't see any deceptive type of cards here. They're leading their life with this eternal child. This is what makes people trust them or be so comfortable around them. And a lot of people will want to be in the presence of an eternal child with this ability to have agape love. The moon. So now if you want to speak to this person, you're going to have to go through the moon energy in order to do it. And that may not be very simple because they're in the forest. They're kind of tucked away. They're sitting with this conflict. The combatant type of, combative type of energy. 7 of Pentacles at the bottom. So when it comes to this moon energy, the 2 of Wands just fell out on top of it. And the Queen of Cups. That's where they're going. Queen of Cups. It's like the masculine aspect of this person is showing up with the 5 of Cups. So everything they do physically when it comes to how they express themselves, how they work, how they do things, it's coming off as a disappointment. Disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. People are disappointed. It's like, fuck. So their feminine energy is going where they feel safe. This is like the medallion. This is like that core of the eternal child. This is that forest energy. They are heading out in a direction where they will feel like they're going home. Whether it be protected. They're really looking at archetypal energies as an eternal child. If they're going to be in the presence of a star or an adult or somebody who is mature, it will be somebody who protects children. It will be somebody who advocates for children. It'll be somebody they feel safe enough to have their children around because of how a person handles them and their eternal child. Then that's what lets them know this is a safe place to be. Queen of Pentacles has this rabbit here that is very fertile, but it's also a place of comfort. It's a place of stability. So where the outstretched hand is not you, it's more so like this. I'm giving something to you. Agape. Love. Because the person in the 6 of Pentacles who is wearing the clothes of the Queen of Pentacles is expressing a giving type of energy. Understanding the mechanics of having to put in work in order to receive. Having to be first the one to offer something in order to reap the benefits or to receive something. Because the eternal child archetype is so... they're going to consider how other people feel. Because they do take things to heart. But they don't have they don't have the mental process to say, well, this thing is going to hurt somebody's feelings. They're looking at the world from an agape perspective. Like, well, I know my intention is this, so there's nothing wrong with that. And another person may feel like it's completely wrong. You just did the worst. You just did the worst thing on earth. And another person is like, wait a minute, like, that's not... They're first giving understanding, not reprimand. King of Cups is looking at their sorrows, and they're really seeing themselves. They're seeing the part of them that is stunted. They're seeing the part of them that is so fucking hurt. They're seeing it. They're seeing it. Every word, every argument, every accusation, they've taken it to heart. Their words pierce their core. Words pierce their heart. Quite literally. They're sitting there. And they speak in a way where, Page of Cups, they're not going to tell you about the pain. They're also not going to tell you things that would put you in pain. So this moon card would come up like withholding. And some people are just fucking liars. Get that? That's different. What I'm feeling here is a person who, anytime this is why they go to the forest. If their actions are going to cause upset, argument, these types of difficulties in your life or in your circumstance, they're not going to be around you. They're not going to tell you about these things that they know are going to disappoint you. Eternal child is what they're protecting. And they're very close to coming into an understanding of that. I want to get a card on the medallion specifically. Well, that was quick. We have the Ace of Swords, Nine of Pentacles, and the Fool card. They want to be confident and courageous enough to even speak on it. You know what I'm saying? They're building up with this medallion spirit. Look at all this gold aligning with that solar plexus energy. They want a place of stability and confidence within themselves to even speak on it. These two energies are aligned with the air energy that we have here. That would be that star. That would be that justice. You know what I mean? They want to have integrity about what they're doing. They're growing into a mental and emotional maturity, though they have the core of an eternal child. They want to have this sense of maturity about how they are able to speak, not just be spoken to and handled and dealt with. They want to be able to convey their own messages, but be confident enough to do so with this medallion, with their solar plexus energy, their heart and their communication. There may be a blockage there, but I think it's being resolved because they're understanding this is just a part of them. This is the core of who they are, and this is something to value. This is not something that they need to keep feeling like is wrong with them because people tell them it's wrong with them. They're really coming into understanding of who they are fundamentally as this sun energy, and that they are simultaneously the star. So they have to elevate in a way, but by example of what did not work. Still with love though. It's just like, damn, okay, well, but if anybody is going to assist them in doing this, they will go somewhere and do it with some that feels safe. Queen of Pentacles energy would make them feel more safe. The Queen of Cups being hurt by certain situations or feeling a certain way. This person is looking in another direction. They have to go out into the forest. They have to go out in this private way to really assess for themselves what that means and build up the confidence enough to be able to speak from that space. I just, both of these cards have these birds here. The communication has to be something that they're confident in doing. The King of Swords here, like I said, it walls up. It gives very little. And that's a part of the eternal child that's uncomfortable for them to operate in. And it's much easier to do that and have other people feel burdened and deterred because they're just reflecting back. It's almost like that sword is just reflecting back. So it's not even a weapon being used. It's just what you've been doing. So like again, I mean, it just feels like a burden. But that's exactly what was necessary to happen. You have to feel exactly what somebody else is feeling. And it is karma. Wheel of Fortune. Saturn and Sagittarius. It has a lot to do with karma. So this isn't happening it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. But also, this has been necessary for someone else as well. There has been a lot of pain experienced here, but it's only because people aren't understanding the internal roles that they're playing externally. They're reaching a level of confidence that is, I mean, it's quite cool. This is what gives them the ability to stand as a leader, stand as a king of cups, versus just always viewed and seen as the page. They receive this. They're able to communicate from the heart because they've taken everything to heart. Now they can really start to speak what they actually feel. But like I said, in a capacity where they feel safe to do so, that's where they'll build their confidence in order to do that. So by the time they even communicate with you, their whole conversation is going to seem different. Their whole demeanor will seem different because they will have come to a level of maturity where the eternal child has been able to go from this sun energy to the star energy. It's going to look like it's day and night, a drastic change in this person. And it's fine that the change has happened, but they're already heading in a different direction now. They're not taking the same steps or having the same agenda. Like their whole itinerary has changed based off of this experience. Judgment. On top of this, Page of Wands is Three of Cups. And this is pretty much where Eternal Child has been going out and creating mischief. Okay? And not intentionally creating mischief to dishearten other people or make them feel some kind of way. It's being perceived as very superficial. It's being perceived as very, like you don't give a fuck, you don't care. They're trying to find these 3 cups that were spilled. Every time that they were told that they weren't doing shit, they weren't going to be shit, they had 3 of swords and they took it to heart, 3 of cups. They were searching for that eternal child energy they could find elsewhere with agape attached to it. And you may have felt the repercussions of that as if it was, you know what I'm saying, a personal offense to you. But if looking at the King of Cups, he's looking straight out, right? The Queen of Cups is dead set focused on this cup. She's so focused on that cup, how she feels, right? And what's in it. That it's like, I mean, and it has a covering on top of it. So if you're aligning with this Queen of Cups energy, it's really closed though. So it's like nothing a person does is going to be enough to penetrate or to get into this heart space of this cup where the emotions run freely. But this person's cup is open and they're absorbing everything that you're giving. And not just absorbing, but taking. So if you're giving Three of Swords or Five of Cups, if you're giving a reprimand, they're just, it's like they're just getting shot with all of this energy and it feels overwhelming. They're going to go somewhere where they feel comfortable to socialize, to be themselves, to be that Page of Cups type of energy and keep it light and keep it childish, childlike. There's really no expectation. They're not seeking anything specific here. And that itself is sandwiched between these two energies because you don't know what's going on and you can't see it. Of course, it would bring this type of energy, this type of conflict, confusion, hurt feelings, right? This is even like revenge or going tit for tat, going back and forth in reaction to something that you may perceive was being done. So they're going to go somewhere where they feel safe. They'd much rather be on even keel and be able to share the eternal child energy with another person. It's like it's watering each other. It's caring for each other. They both need to be given to. They both need to receive as well. But they're doing it in two different forms. Water and earth. Earth. Water. Water. Earth. So I'm speaking to either an Aries Pisces cusp or Aries Taurus cusp person. And you take it how you will, wherever you at, whoever you're dealing with. There is a agape foundation of love here, so the love will never die. It's very, evident for the eternal child. There will always be a connection of love, even if pain has persisted. They just have that type of heart. That's just how they're built. But there's certain things as a mature person, as an adult person, they're no longer going to allow. They're not going to experience, and they don't want to. And the same could be said for you, upon second judgment, it's like that's not someplace they want to be at all. It's like it's too stuck. It's too rigid. It's too judgmental. This is Taurus energy. This is Saturn energy. Those are some harsh ass energies to be under. And even Pluto here with judgment. Like these two, this confusion, this blind, it's blinding, it's binding. But at the same time, it's combine them, and that's the Ten of Swords. It leads to being mentally it's really damaging to the psyche. They always feel like they're in a moment of being taught and having been taught a lesson and taught a lesson and taught a lesson. And this is not even, the universe is going to teach us lesson in this way for this person, true enough, but you're not the bringer of karma. You don't decide that you're going to bring someone karma. Karma is assigned through vessels. People don't even know that they end up being someone else's karma. They're just following their guidance. They're following what they're being instructed to do. So even still, with you doing what you're doing and going through what you're going through, they could be a chaos agent that causes change at you. Because you're no longer going to live the same. You're no longer going to feel the same about certain things. They challenge everything that you thought you knew. Even if you don't rock with this person no more, even if you don't feel like you're in love with this person, if you're not friends with this person, there's something about their energy that has broken down barriers and borders within your energy. You won't live like the same. Once you really reflect on it and think about it with this star energy here, that reflection, the moon energy with that reflection, these types of celestial influences are really going to have you sit and think about this. Why it was necessary to do things in this manner. Why you felt that it was necessary. The way that they automatically take things to heart and have to always be reminded of their behavior. Now it's a mirror to you and you'll be reminded of yours. But not by their doing. They're not going to push it in your face or make you see it. It's just in their absence. That's all that's left. Is the memory of how this transpired. So this is where you take a look. And then this is where you really assess. Like, what did I do? And not in a way that you're blaming yourself. But this happened. Then I reacted like this. This happened. Then I acted like that. This happened. Then I did this. What is my pattern of dealing with people? You know, this word dealing with. It's like you're like something was put on you, or something was just dropped in your lap, and this eternal child, you know, if all of a sudden you have a child that you have to take care of that isn't yours, it can seem like it's burdensome because they're not used to doing things the way that you like things done. And then you become that archetype of a emperor, you know, and it's like they can do no good, or, you know, in your eyes, or they can never make you happy, or they can never satisfy you, or there's always something wrong. That's tough. They'll find their medallion. They will find it. Okay? You have to understand that you, in these dealings, in this happenstance, they're being given a helping hand here. The medallion is like the Ace of Pentacles with the solar plexus energy. And they've dealt with the fight, flight, fright, faint type of response already. And they're building this discernment. They're building that chariot energy is like right here in that solar plexus. And it's really giving me that power, that strength. It's Leo season, so they're very much immersed in doing things in a way they've never done it before, that they didn't actually have courage to do. Because it was frowned upon. When they would take action, it seemed like not enough, or it seemed like it was too much, or it seemed like, you know, it just, there was always something. So now they're just building up the courage and the confidence to keep this eternal child energy about them protected, and the agape energy at least being able to not rebuttal, but to respond from that. Their eternal child is always a place where they're going to feel safe. Even if it's another person that they have an eternal child bond with, they will be more inclined to be around people like that, where they don't have to question intentions, or question if they'll you know what I'm saying, be whipped into shape by this adult figure, this emperor type of figure. There's wounding that deals with the father with this eternal child that just cannot be amended. It will always be a wound. It will always keep them in this eternal child energy as well. And it's not something that there's not something that we should look at as a bad thing if it's used in a proper direction. And I feel that they're refining that with this medallion energy. This Ace of Pentacles energy is showing that nothing is wasted, and that they can actually use it towards building a future for themselves without fearing that they'll be met with confrontation and rebuttal. You know what I mean? And they may experience a lot of this in the workplace because Aries is typically like, the boss or, something like that. So they encounter this archetype all the time. So when it comes to friendships, when it comes to partnerships, when it comes to family relationships and stuff like that, that's the last place that they need to keep feeling that type of energy. They experience it on a daily basis. And for a long time, it's done a lot of damage, but now they're in repair in the forest energy. They've really had to see what all this means in accordance to who they are. These are all the chakra colors lit up. So they're getting to see themselves almost like play by play. They're being shown themselves, how people react to them and why they react to them in that way. And they're starting to understand and grow respect for this eternal child energy that they have, because it brings on a sense of creativity as well. Where other people lose touch and lose sight, they still have it because they have a heart of a child, or they can see through the eyes of a child how something may be perceived or how something looks. So they may give a simple solution or have a simple answer for something that you feel is complicated or complex, and it just seems to not measure up, like it ain't good enough. And that's something that they no longer want to be subjected to. They're going to remove their energy so they're not put in that place of put down or rejection. They're going to go towards things that are actually accepting of and offering of. And that is their lesson, to know when something is being given in good nature and kind, in alignment with this inner child energy, which again has this bright gold influence here. This is of them. This is just like them. And this is the core of them that protects it. So when it comes to their stability, they're only going to build their stability around something that feels like the core of them, that aligns with that core value of this eternal child archetype. Because if you come in, like if somebody has maiden energy, virgin energy, child energy, those are things that are going to align with an eternal child energy. But if you have and when I say emperor, I'm going to speak in terms of elder, hermit, hierophant, crone. Those energies are too harsh. It's like a young child being raised by somebody who's 60 plus. You know what I mean? If your spiritual age or your is a lot more mature, or your intellectual age is a lot more mature, a lot more advanced. Again, that college professor to kindergarten kindergarten student. Kinder is child. You know what I'm saying? But so there's a certain way to deal with that type of energy in kind. Okay? They're going to align with something that is more of them, that is more virginal, that is more maiden-like, that is more protecting versus the status quo, the that rough, rugged type of harsh energy. That's too limiting for the eternal child to actually grow in. You don't want to have this 65-year-old person raising this 3-4-year-old. They're going to be teaching them things that are outdated for such a young spirit. They're not even going to know how to use their eternal child energy in an environment like that, because they'll be told that they cannot. They'll be warned against doing that. It'll be sit down, shut up, don't touch, be quiet. Everything that we learned in school as far as this discipline, to the point of hindrance, where people now can't even bring out their creativity because of how judgmental and how easily they get told that it's wrong. Don't do it, reprimand it, be quiet. No one wants to hear that. You're speaking out of turn. Don't speak unless spoken to. Those types of things will stifle this type of energy and will kill a person slowly, to the point where they lose touch. and they don't even know how to operate in the world, period, because they're not even getting a chance to develop because they're being turned down at every corner. The rejection is just too great that people cannot accept them as eternally innocent or have this eternal child spirit about them. It's everything around us that will tarnish and taint this type of energy and really drill it to the ground. And I honestly feel like this is why certain people commit suicide. I shit you not. The shadow, the storm. This will have a person question, if I can't do anything right, if there's nothing right about me, if everything that I do is wrong, then why am I here? So be careful how you handle people, how you deal with people. And I'm speaking about the energy influence of Aries. I'm not necessarily talking to energy. I'm not necessarily talking to Aries born sun sign people. I'm reading energy under the influence of Mars and the zodiac of Aries, but not where, you feel like you're Aries, so this should align with you. Because you're going to find an archetype like this. You're going to have witnessed something like this. And people just don't get it. They just don't see it. They can't relate. You have to understand that not everybody is where you are. If somebody has dyslexia, or they're having comprehensional problems or anything like that, and you're scholarly and you're collegiate, you cannot say that you're trying to measure intelligence by how well, people can climb a tree, or, fish can, if you're testing everybody the same, if it's standardized and you put everybody through this like a standardized test, like, people don't feel the same, they don't think the same, they don't reason the same. And this eternal child energy is reiterating that. You know what I mean? It's like their gifts are elsewhere. So that's what I was talking about when I was talking about stunted growth and how children may come out with certain disabilities and stuff. It has a lot to do with the eternal child. The parent can have an eternal child energy but come out physically fine, but it'll seem as if they're stunted or they're slow in developing in a certain way, and it can manifest in their physical children, where their children can have ailments and illnesses and conditions and autism and developmental problems and growth issues. And it has a lot to do with the eternal child and how love itself has been ill expressed to this person. It manifests in their physical environment outside of them, and it can always be seen in children because it's in their DNA, and that's the only reproduction. That's the only it's not a clone, but it's a physical representation of them outside of themselves. Something that they're creating with this hurt and harmed energy can come out manifested, mangled, and twisted as a kid. And it can affect that child, but it will be something that always connects them directly to that child. You will be able to see them through the illness and ailment of their children. It's a product of their environment. I didn't know it was going to go there. I'm going to leave this shit here. It's getting harder and harder to do these readings with, like, I'm trying. I don't know how else not. I don't know how else to deliver these. I can't just, it's not simple for me. It's not simple for me. I can't just. I feel and I see in a different way, and I know it may be harsh, and I know some people don't want to hear it, and they really start to, they'll be like, damn. how did it go there from here? And it's like, listen, I see what I see, and I feel what I feel, and I know what I know. And the only way that I just express it in that manner. And that's it. It's just, I feel this shit in the core of me. Like, I fully understand what this is saying to me. I feel what it's, and I don't necessarily have an eternal child spirit, but I know people who do. And I feel this shit to my core, what it must be like, what it feels like. Like, it just, I can clearly feel it. And the shit almost made me cry. This shit almost made me cry. No doubt. Like, no lie. That brought me to tears. It was choking me up. Because you just don't understand what another person is going through. And they are in misery. And they don't want no company. And that's while it is responsible and considerate of others, it is a very dangerous spot for somebody to be in.